everyone needs to know that we're trying. That's it, flat out, we're trying and we're doing our best.
Yeah, we're trying, and we want to do well. We want to do the right things. We have that kind of like desire to do well and to put our best foot forward.
Times are changing. Now more than ever, we need to start voicing opinions more and start expressing ourselves more rather than fitting into these social stigmas that we find ourselves in every day.
Stereotypes, no matter whether they could be true or whether they're false, stereotypes are always going to hurt. I think everyone's been a victim of a stereotype one way or another, and they really, really can hurt.
A lot of young men and just like teenagers and that in general are struggling with just speaking about their thoughts, feelings and emotions sort of thing to others, and they're also struggling with like just communicating to people in general just about anything, because they just feel like that they have to deal with like everything by themselves, and that they have no one that they can reach out to or feel like that they can support them sort of thing.
Anxiety and depression is a huge thing growing up for these young men today, because the stats say for themselves when you see the fact that so many young people are now growing up having to visit therapists as well. And I feel like a lot of that comes from social, financial and your socioeconomic status.
The biggest struggle is not that we have too much pain, but that we have too much anesthetic, too many ways of like avoiding things, or say social media or video games, or like all these kind of escapes, to the point where we're not confronting problems, and we don't have the guidance. That's why Top Blokes is so great, because it gives us some structure and some mentoring and some real guidance around how we navigate those issues, instead of just how we either suppress them, whether that's suppressing emotions or just suppressing our problems generally through our actions, like escaping. So I'd say that's the biggest thing I noticed, whether it's mental health or like struggles with like school.
I feel like we do have that sort of lack in figure that we can sometimes even just look up to for that better way. And especially since now that we are sort of given that figure for us to then be able to step up for that next generation as well, to be able to spread that same message. So it's not just the continuous cycle of the same stigmas.
100% young men have this huge issue of always wanting to escape or trying to get away from their problems. And like he said, that's where problems with drug addiction can come by. But also I think that's even when issues of pornography are made prevalent. Maybe young men are using pornography as an escape from the real world and from their real issues. Whether they're perceived or their real issues, young men are always trying to escape. But more on that, what I really think is a big issue is purpose, or the lack of it. I think a lot of young men, I see it in a lot of my friends, and even people who would just be classmates. People go through life without a purpose. They're just trucking through. And I'm not saying that there's a problem with going with the flow, but I think when you have almost an entire generation of young men without a purpose, without an end goal, they're floating around, and that can be really scary, not only for them, but the fact that you don't know then what the final product's gonna be.
In my opinion, there's too much solution rather than tackling a problem itself. Like, there are many ways to reach out if you're feeling down or all of that. But when it comes to tackling that problem itself, I find that there's a lack of support in that area.
I think there's too many easy outlets for young men to access, like how quickly and easily they can access like drugs, or how they can quickly and easily just access anything online in general.
And I think what we're trying to escape from is ultimately loneliness. You think about it, people use pornography because they crave intimacy. People play video games because it's the only way they feel like they can be working towards a goal with their brothers, with their friends. It's fake, it's simulated, but it presses those same kind of psychological internal buttons. You know, the reason people might hang out with friends and be around negative peer influences is because they don't want to be alone.
Well, I think people that don't have like family or like parents or that is just having a young or just a male role model in their life, just to sort of guide them in a better direction instead of leading to bad resources is crime, pornography, drugs, alcohol, just those sort of things that like they just don't have troubled kids don't have a chance on getting the proper support that they need as well, and services. That's why like I feel like top blokes as well should be like more implemented in like most schools, because it's a good program to guide kids in a better direction, but also giving a balanced opinion on what the like do's and don'ts are for like certain things, and how we can better understand how we can react to certain situations.
Yeah, in my experience, I've got that one mate I tell everything. Like if I've got something I want to get off my chest, I go straight to him. And I know other boys are the same. They've just got that one person that we just go to for anything, whatever we need, that they're listening. And that's a great like thing to have. If you don't have that, like I don't know, I don't think I'd go to anyone else. Like I would just go to my one friend, and he always listens. He's like a really good mate of mine.
Peers have the most connectivity, the most influence to and from young men and young adults.
Top Blokes, that's it. I think Top Blokes is just one of the greatest sort of, places for young men to go to. I think it's the greatest sort of source of assistance for young men. Because maybe I could be like a little biased. I did the Top Blokes program, and Top Blokes kind of aligns exactly with my values. But the fact that so many young men nowadays, I see it daily life, and it appalls me that so many young men still have this kind of attitude of that sort of rigid masculinity. And Top Blokes wants to kind of take that down. The Top Blokes wants to look at it, take it apart, and kind of form a more healthier view of masculinity. And that really aligns with me. And I feel like if young men just gave it a shot, they'd enjoy it just as much as I did.